Hello friends, a lot of volunteers have come forward to green their environment, and this video is a demo to help us understand how to plant a tree properly. The first thing about planting a tree is to choose the site very carefully. We have to make sure that the site is appropriate. If you would like to plant on the street side or inside the compound, make sure that there is at least 2 to 3 feet distance from the compound wall where you plant the tree. Likewise, if you are planting within the compound, you can plant a tree even if there is just 5 feet space between the building and the compound wall. We can plant a medium-sized or small-sized tree, including fruit trees. Another thing to note is whether there are any electrical lines directly overhead above the place where you are planting a tree. If there are electrical lines, either you can avoid them by going to the opposite side of the road, or you can plant a short variety of tree. Nandyavattai, Tanga Arali, something like that, or you could even ask the nursery for some short tree varieties. They will give you whatever is appropriate. Or you will have to trim the branches as the tree grows in case it touches the electrical wire. Another thing to keep in mind is that if there are stormwater drains going below, let us not plant a tree right on top of that. Give a space of at least 10 feet between two trees, and don't plant in the complete shade of another tree. Every tree needs direct sunlight at least for a few hours every day. So these are just some of the simple criteria for selecting a suitable site. Once you have selected a proper site, we need to dig a pit. Now the pit has to be 1.5 feet long, 1.5 feet wide by 1.5 feet deep. We are digging the pit to this size so that the roots can grow comfortably with the soil not being very hard. While you are digging the pit, be very careful to preserve the sand which is dug out on one side. Do not scatter it all around, because if it is scattered and let us say you plant after a day or two, the mud could simply get lost, or it will be difficult for you to mix the mud along with the manure which you are going to add. Once you have completed the pit and the mud which is dug out is kept on one side, then we will go to the planting. Before planting, we will have to mix manure and the soil which you have dug out together, and then refill the pit to about 50%. We will do the mixing now. The manure we use is natural manure. We can use either vermicompost or we can use decomposed cow dung. If you are using decomposed cow dung, you can mix about 2 kilos of decomposed cow dung along with the earth which is dug out. If you are using vermicompost, 1 kilo will be adequate. After you have filled up about half the pit, that is about 3/4 of a foot, then we have to plant the seedling there. Before planting the seedling, there are a few things which we need to do. We need to remove this plastic cover which is there around the soil clump very, very carefully, in such a way that the soil clump remains intact. If the soil clump gets broken while we are removing the cover or while planting, then the life of the tree will become much shorter. This is because the small roots, the side roots which are there emanating already, will get damaged if the soil clump goes. And for them to again take root in the new soil is going to be a big struggle. Meanwhile, there is a chance that the tree may die. So this is extremely critical. How you do this is, we just put the plant, slant it on the ground, and then remove it carefully using a scissor or a blade or a sharp knife. Just slit it open. We have to do this very patiently and slowly. It is worth spending some time in removing this packet. Once it is removed, we have to simply lift it and place it in the middle of the pit vertically. And then we fill the rest of the earth mixed along with the manure into the rest of the to cover the pit. While filling, if you find any big stones which cannot be broken, please remove those from the pit. Once the pit is filled, you have to just compact it using both hands to tighten the soil a bit and make a slight clump close to the center and a basin all around it. Use the remaining soil to make a basin. This will hold the water in place when we are watering it. While planting, make sure that the stem is straight, and as soon as you have completed the planting, as soon as you fill the pit with the mud and the manure, start the watering. You have to water it with at least about 10 liters of water, about 1 bucket of water, and you have to do it around the pit so that you don't pour it directly in the middle because the clump may get disturbed. You can pour it around and that will distribute the water to the roots and this will remain intact. After you finish watering, use the last mug of water to moisten all the leaves also by sprinkling water on the leaves. Now the planting has been completed. We need to fix the tree guard immediately to protect the tree from animals as well as from other disturbances and damages.